Welcome to your weekly corner Späti. It is myself, Nick, and I'm joined with the lovely Ciarán.
Well, hang on, step off. I am lovely.
You are. I'm
And
Yay.
and Yulia's here.
Hi.
She's
I'm
also
back.
lovely.
She's also lovely.
Yeah, super lovely.
Rob is practicing settler colonialism and is in the United States celebrating Thanksgiving. He is canceled.
Yep, Rob's cancelled.
No, Rob will be giving us a dispatch.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Of doing the Trotskyist thing of then implementing himself within the system of settler colonialism in order to overthrow it.
Definitely not just becoming a cog in it at all.
Of course not. Never.
Naturally, this is to all the members of the Micmac tribe. This is your 3-week head start.
But so this week, this is it. This is the episode that we've got requested so many times by everyone. Obviously, this is our 3-hour special on everything China. We are going to be discussing internment camps. We're going to be discussing Hong Kong.
Yep.
We're going to do this all without a guest who knows anything about China.
Yep.
It's just going to be us giving you our opinion for 3 hours.
To be fair, Nick, that's we do have a guest, which is the very silent Xi Jinping body pillow in the fourth chair with us right now.
Yeah. No, just kidding. We would never do that.
We'll never discuss China. It's too hot a topic.
Yeah. I know we will discuss China. Just
My phone is listening. So
Everyone turn off your phone.
we all have a Chinese phone. don't
You
we?
record into a Chinese laptop.
Yeah. But no, we're kind of like gonna do a grab bag that's not so casual this time. Very. There's been a lot in the news, at least in Europe and
Yeah.
specifically Germany. We could talk about the manifestos that the UK's political parties have been releasing, all of which Labour's are complete dumpster fires or just calls for genocide, depending on.
Yeah. Shout out to the traveler community. We definitely have to do a traveler episode because no one on the continent knows what the fuck they are. But the important thing to know is that they are an ethnic group recognized by the UN, and the Tories have a whole section in their manifesto about how they're basically going to genocide them. So that's fun.
Heard that before.
Yeah.
But so we're going to be talking about a different type of groups that live in a country, if you will, called Germans.
What? Who?
Yeah, and how they suck.
Never heard of it.
No, so oh hey, the dogs came.
Yeah.
What do we have to offer them? We have no gifts to bear. Yeah, so this has been kind of the 2 points that I saw that just really kind of struck me as weird this week was one, I don't know which one we want to do first, the site one or...
Definitely the Zeit one first,
Yeah.
because it's also we're pointing out that there is something that weird that did happen in German, like Twitter, that we are ignoring this week, which is CDU talking about their fetishes.
I did not see that.
Did you not see that?
No.
The Black Zero fetish tweet.
Oh, God, yeah, of course.
What?
Yeah.
The CDU had a picture of like the Black Zero.
Just as a leather daddy.
Oh, yeah.
As a leather
I saw
daddy.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
They know that it's bad. They just fucking love it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we can talk about the Schwarzenegger at a different time because that's the whole thing we have to break down economically about why it's
I like
garbage.
to talk about that because that has
Yeah.
a lot to do with everything. Like
But-
with economics in Germany, but also in
Europe
the
as a
EU.
whole,
Yeah, exactly.
How it just fucks everything for
yeah,
everyone
like Greece,
else.
for example.
Hey, yeah, but they deserved it.
Those lazy.
That's why Germany's a leather daddy. Dog. God, Greece is little just loves being domed.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
gotta
clearly
be
it.
punished for
Yeah.
And, like fin doming is a thing. Like
Yeah, of course.
I have a pretty stable job and career, but fin doming does sound like a great life path of just you get access to a rich person's money and their fetish is you spend it.
Yeah. I know. They're actually people. There are sites for people, but there are also people on Tinder saying I want to clean your house, but I also want to buy shit for you. Go shopping, spend my money. I'm like,
That's called
that.
being a rapper.
Oh.
Yeah. But no, so there was for our non-German listeners and whatnot, there's been a debate of the last few months that then has been shipped over, I would say, from the US right of the political correctness debate. Oh, yeah, I feel you, pup. Sorry, we have the pups in the background. And so Germans being obviously the most what's the word I'm looking for?
Racist.
No, of course not, never. They're just the most oppressed group of peoples within Europe, obviously. And there's
Germans,
yes, of course. And there's been this very much like trying to then make normal Germans feel this like weird victim complex just because racism in Germany has like not really been discussed in terms of like speech. And whatnot. And I think that we've briefly touched on this topic before about just how like German politicians have just thrown the N-word around and stuff like that willy-nilly up until very recently. And even then, that's not even like it's probably still a thing.
There's
depending
so
on
many idioms in German that are always like related to minority groups or something like that. So like, I don't know.
The famous German idiom of
Türken gehen, for example.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or like...
Or like... directly translated, it means you can't have your cake and eat it too. N-word 4 times.
Yep.
Yeah. So this debate's kind of switched modes from that sense of like 70% of Germans feel that they can't say their opinion, which is good. I think 70% of Germans
was
just
it
shouldn't.
70 or was it 60?
It was 60 or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It just so happened that their opinion is the N-word 4 times.
Yeah. And then you're like they interview these like people on the street, you know, just like, I think that just Germany's too PC because I can't, you know.
I can't go to the bakery anymore and order.
I can't write slurs in excrement on a synagogue anymore. And
yeah,
and the swastika is just like an Indian, like
yeah. But so now the thing is like the thing is kind of shifted a little bit to then where it's just become that like Germans just really want to say these things now, and there was there was the cover of Zeit magazine, which is their monthly or quarterly magazine that they do. That it's just liberal dog shit.
Well, it's sad, so I'm not.
Lots of newspapers have that like you know, Sunday issue or whatever. Like
the New York Times magazine or whatever. So it had a picture of a chocolate kiss.
Yep.
Or what are they called? Schaumküsse?
Schaumküsse or Schokoküsse.
Names that you can say that are not racist for what they are, which are completely
more accurate. Like this is what it is. Like seriously, it's like
wait, there's no black people in this. I want my money back.
What the fuck?
This is just chocolate and cream.
Yeah, and the picture on it is then just like, yo, what's this called again? Like,
it's like what?
Nick was so concerned that I didn't understand this, but I was like, no, this is pretty clear. I get this. Like it's in German.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Why is it red? By the way, like what does this red?
It's the socialism breaking through, telling you that you should not say the N-word.
Yes, like,
that's what socialism is.
It's
that's
kind
it.
of like why? Like who chooses?
It's actually the Predator just like zooming in on it about
really
to attack.
Like, somehow I don't know. Like
I don't know. It literally looks like the thing like the laser pointer the Predator has, the like triangular one that then like the like weird like.
For anyone who doesn't like, so if I get this correct, because you know different types of chocolates are different parts of the world, it is just like what half a pill shape, basically, kind of largish.
Yeah, it's a marshmallow.
A dough, marshmallow covered
with
in
a waffle at the
with a
bottom.
waffle.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're not very good.
Yeah,
I'll have to also add that too. It's one of Germany's worst exports.
Actually, on like
shut up. Do you like them?
Well, on kids' parties, you would get white bread rolls, and you would put this in between. Like you would cut it open and put like a chocolate.
Oh my god, what?
And then you would eat it.
Oh my god, what? No, scrap the rest of this episode. We're just doing this. First of all, what are you doing at kids' parties? I just stormed them for the Schokoküsse.
It's that and potato smiley faces.
Those are cool.
Those are cool.
But okay, good, perfect example right there. Ciarán, learning German, right there, called it the proper name without having to use the N-word because there is a name for these things that is not racist.
Yeah.
And the fact that the site has to just be like, oh, I want to say it. What is this thing called?
Shit.
I love the way they phrase it because it was like Viva nochmal correct.
Yeah.
Correcte wird. Like, it was like, but it is just very kind of like casual bait. It was like what was the correct? I've forgotten myself. I don't.
While you just like twist into a swastika, trying to
twist your own body.
There's actually an Austrian like Schlager singer whose cover of his thing is his body contorted into a swastika.
Oh my god, is it that weird rock Schlager guy? Oh my god, what's his name again?
I forget.
How can I forget? Yeah, because
How
he's
is it
like
not
such
DJ Happy Vibes?
No, it's not.
That's DJ Happy Vibes' like biggest inspiration. I was like, yo, bro, if I fucking lived in Austria, I'd be
could
contorting
do this.
myself
So-
into a swastika as well.
He
the thing
was the 63% of the survey who was just like, I can't even make swastika as my album cover anymore. If I lived in Austria where people are free to have swastika cover albums.
So the thing is actually like Side tries to do like a woke turn on this, like saying, okay, like policing language is, or in quotes, is something that the elites do, and when you don't have a certain background or a certain like education, how would you know that you can't say the N-word?
Well,
and that is, yeah.
That's the thing that I think that I don't remember if it was. I think I'm going to be canceled because I'm quoting some left lib bullshit, but I think Bashkar from Jacobin wrote an article in The Guardian about how like unions used to be this method of the anti-racism for working class people, and how this elitist policing of language is obviously problematic because it is a top-down structure of academics telling you what you can and can't say. But then there have been, and there still are, grassroots organizations of workers, of people then who aren't these academics, who then have done this language. I wouldn't even call it like language, but policing, because it is a direct way of interacting with people. Of like, hey, you work with people then who don't look like you and don't have the same beliefs and practices as you. And it's been a much more successful way of then getting working class people to, be more actively like you can be anti-racist in your theory, or be socialist or whatever, and then still harbor a lot of these things. I can totally understand that from a country that then is quite homogeneous up until very recently. No, I guess Germany was never really homogeneous, but a white country like Germany.
Yeah, I find like saying something like language policing is actually
it's a top-down mechanism of
exactly,
academics.
And I find like if you call everything, if you correct someone, for example, and say, oh, this kind of hurts me if you use this kind of language to describe me, for example, or to put a label on me. I wouldn't call it language policing, because that is actually like it reproduces this idea that it is this top-down structure.
Yeah, because like policing implies that the consequences are like
punishment,
criminal, or a fine.
Jail.
You're going to the language gulag.
Yeah, because like it's not even if it comes from this top-down perspective, it is like at best a suggestion. Will be slightly mean to you if you say the wrong word. And at the same time, the position that it's all coming from top down is very, very patronizing as well. That like there isn't any kind of like anti-racist working class, or that the term this is directed at are people who aren't working class for some strange reason.
And exactly. And it's the thing like I think you wanted to make this point if like in workers' unions or something like that, and you have people that come from like the same background as you and say, okay, this hurts me, and it's more sort of like political education than it is language policing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's a much better way of wording it. Yeah, because I think that too, for a country like I was trying to iterate earlier before the dog went outside, is that then. Like in a case of like Germany, you're just like any, I would say like white Western European country, which then typically has a workforce that then up until very recently was mostly white. I mean, what the German workforce became more ethnically diverse through reconstruction of Europe, where you have like the Gastarbeiter program and whatnot, which then Germany wanted to get rid of immediately. And there was like we can talk about then like the problems that Germany just never integrated people. Like language was like not if they taught you German, that would be like they'd have to pay you more money. Yeah, which is still
also
a thing
because
today.
they thought like, they're going back anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
and now
at some point after like 40 years,
4 or 5 generations later,
they're like, oh shit.
So learned recently about like migrant schools, like there's separate schooling systems or like a separate class.
Oof. But then still, like the thing that then like unified a lot of these people then is when then these is being part of a workforce within a country like Germany. And it's very interesting too that a lot of these barriers, though, even though Germany has a big like union-based society, and like it's a different argument for West and East Germany, obviously, because they both dealt with the problem much differently. But it's one that's like kind of been dealt with at a union level, but then the structure of German unions is even weirder because they're top down within itself from like the SPD or whatever.
Yeah, it's because like you have this weird like tri-party system of like bargaining, like what's it called, collective bargaining.
Collective bargaining.
Yeah. And so they kind of like very established a lot of the unions, so you don't have that radical, non-hierarchical structure anymore. You have the Gewerkschaftsboss, and they're gonna sit down on the table with the other bosses and like
doing boss shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing beast
boss mode. Yeah, I was
Beast
about to say like going beast mode.
I found out that my boss's playlist at work is called Beast Mode, and it made me want to fucking cringe because he's an absolute piece of shit, who of course would have a playlist called Beast Mode.
Yeah.
Well, that only reminds me of that one T-shirt that I really, really wanted to buy. It's one of those auto-generated T-shirts on Facebook, which was like a gorilla lifting weights, and it was
said, "Don't fuck with this anime loving, dog loving."
No, because this is the time when I had successfully broken my Facebook algorithm. So it was like the T-shirt said, "Forget beast mode, time to go Bosnian mode."
Yes.
And the T-shirt the gorilla was wearing was just the Bosnian flag.
That's sick. I want that
I'm so
T-shirt.
confused. What?
It was very poorly photoshopped onto the gorilla's body.
Did you order this shirt?
No,
Should've.
I've got a T-shirt on the way coming that's one of the Sailor Scouts with an AK-47 and balaclava over their face that just says Chucky Arla on it. But it's like one of the characters from Sailor Moon.
It's the new
Ball and Super.
Super.
Yeah, it's on the way. I'm so excited for it.
All those shirts are made for you.
They are.
But
but anyway, like it's such a weird like thing to discuss that like Germans feel insulted that they can't use these terms anymore to describe chocolate or like baked goods or something, because you have that a lot with chocolate and baked goods. Like you have this Sarotti case, for example. So we all know that I don't know, maybe we don't all know, but there's this chocolate in Germany, and it had a very racist label of, I don't know actually what the explanation. I have to look it up. I'm sorry.
It was like it was basically a minstrel, but like dressed as like a sultan kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's very it falls into the great old like Orientalism.
It has like a history of like Kaiserreich and shit like that. Right. So there's like some weird shit.
But
it's all the peoples that Germany wished that they conquered into one caricature.
Basically. But it is that I love that book Orientalism by Edward Said.
Someone fucking just dropping bangers over here that they read.
That was the only book I had to read for my weird anime thesis in college. I'll explain later. But it does have this whole thing of like the history of Orientalism and Orient studies was just Europe being like everything south and east of here is the same. So it would just be like
exotic.
Yeah, basically it would just be like a Tibetan guy like riding an African elephant hunting lions, and then like a black guy wearing a turban, and you're like,
yeah,
all right, we just put this all in a big boggle box and shuck it around.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. Shit, I lost my.
You're fine.
The chocolate guy
with the
Sultan guy in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it is very obviously like a racist caricature, like you just said. And so now I think did they make him? Yeah, they made him white.
They made him white, but he still has
golden white.
Yeah, it's very
like,
confusing.
He still wears like a turban.
The dress is the same, basically. The clothes are the same, so it's like.
And it was a big discussion back then, like when people say like, why do we have to do that?
Wasn't this like the Leitkultur debate of like 15, 20 years ago? And it was just all this thing about like, or am I wrong about that? I always feel that like Germany being openly racist was like a part of the Leitkultur debate of like, this is just who we are. Like, don't like, you may not like it, but this is being German.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's happening with the Zwarte Piet thing in the Netherlands. Like, this is our culture. That's their defense of it. And I mean, this was also like. Racist packaging is like a story as old as time. Like the UK used to have like a brand of jam that just had like a racist caricature of an Indian person on it.
Mm-hmm.
US has that like for, I mean, look
everything.
At just, look at like the, what is it, like Aunt
Uncle
Jemima
Ben's.
and Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben still makes me feel somewhat
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Fucking great. I love all of this.
Actually, this Zarotti caricature is kind of like brings it all together because it's like this weird thing that happened during the second German Kaiserreich. That the word, the like German N-word, you have the German N-word, but you also have the M word, and you still have a lot, like you have streets in Berlin still like called this.
Carrot Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, for those who
Exactly,
don't know, if you
Street.
mispronounce the word for carrot, or carrots, the plural of Möhren, if you replace the O with a normal O, you get the N-word in German, which I could imagine being a very big folly that then a lot of Germans, like, people who are learning German just accidentally drop that.
Ciarán's learning German in Germany. Pro tip number 1, say Karotten.
Yeah.
It's just easy.
Say Karotten.
You will never accidentally say the N-word.
Actually.
Oh no!
Sorry. Every time I say that, it's like
Karotten is like a slur for Italians.
No. No, actually, when you say Rüben, you can put the...
No, what's going to happen now? What?
Well, if
Which
you say
people
Rüben,
group are we doing?
No, Rüben, you put the M word in front of it without the Ö. So I won't say it, but like...
What is with this fucking language? Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to teach anyone.
Let's just take vegetables, slightly mispronounce them. By the way, they're racial slurs now. So that then these very basic everyday words that you can say may be racist.
But what I want to say where that word comes from, it's actually it was like a term to call people
it was a term of endearment.
Mauritian as far as Mauritius, is it? Yeah. And actually, like also a term that was used for like Berbers and like
okay.
Arabic,
I know the English equivalent.
Yeah.
The English equivalent, weirdly, is not a slur, but it's just a really outdated term for everyone from Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
A Moor.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like that's one of the Knights of the Round Table was like Philip the Moor or something like that. Yeah.
Why does it still sound problematic to me?
I mean, it's like, when there's two Joshes on the team. One's White Josh and one's Knights of the Round Table.
Yeah. So that is where that's the origin of that word, and that is actually then like the Zarotti guy is kind of like I don't know the whole history. I used to know why like he's dressed like that and stuff like that because they made up kind of like a story about him being like like a servant in Germany for like aristocratic people.
It's just every German's wet dream of what they could do to people then who are not from Germany.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of all the like
65% of Germans wish they could do that.
63% of Germans can express their opinion, which is I want a slave that is somehow simultaneously African, Muslim, and Slavic at the same time.
That sounds accurate. Yeah.
But like slightly back to then like the idea then of this being like German culture and whatnot.
Oh my
I
God.
think. Well, no, hold up. I think that it actually is then ultimately with every Western white European nation is that like. When people go and like this is like the argument in the U.S. right now, like this isn't us, blah blah blah. Germany, like all of Western Europe is constructed on this this incredibly racist thing. So
it is you.
Yeah, so I can actually then understand like not that I understand the point, but when people are like, oh yeah, no, this is German culture, they're actually right.
Yeah,
like this is German culture, and it sucks.
Yeah, the problem is that we here have an understanding of culture of always being something that is positively like connotated. So like culture is something good, like in this like argument,
or at the very least cannot be changed.
Exactly, cannot be changed is like always there, is reproduced, and that is the funny thing. This reproduction of it, that's a problem. Like it's not necessarily there. You're not born with it. Like you don't come out of it and say like, oh my God, I want this N-word. Kiss, whatever.
You cannot take that away from me.
And I wanted.
Sorry, can we just rename the German version of like blacked.com to Schokokuss? And just all right, you guys can keep calling the chocolate a slur, but we're going to rename this Black Dom website.
Yep.
Oh,
so
God.
it's like, that's the thing. Like, what did I want to say? Yeah, what I wanted to say is like this argument also like in the Netherlands saying like, oh, this is our culture. Yeah. Well, it is part of the culture, and it is still problematic, and that's a problem. You know, it's like because it becomes like some cultural relativism. If you say it like, as long as it's part of a culture, it's good
inherently
thing.
good.
It's inherently good, or it's like always there and it's natural, and it's like
leftists do this with like with oppressed peoples a lot.
There
is an equivalent. I think that there is like an equivalent that then you can do is in the sense of like, and it isn't all leftists, but like these very weird groups that then maybe are more or less, maybe not completely cultural relativists, but then they'll be like, and it goes back to the thing that I've said before of like, you find out that the U.S. is bad and that the West is bad, so then everything that then isn't the West, you're like, this is good, pure, and fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
And you get this like weird backwards, or like it's still Orientalism.
Yeah, it is.
It's the reverse of like these kind of people though, where they're just like, oh yeah, Svarta Pete and my racist chocolate is like a part of our culture. Therefore, it cannot be changed, and it also might be good. But also, I'm very critical of like Middle Eastern cultures. That can be changed, and it's all bad.
And it's like it's like the just exact opposite image of that for them. But the thing that, and always kind of like the funny thing too is that then, because you were saying too that then like culture is this like, you know, ever changing thing and whatnot. Like culture is literally just like that like cartoon thing of like a guy going down and like on a snowy mountain and then just becomes a snowball like over time, and it's just like like it's just it like, not that it's like accidental, like there's a lot of things going on in order for then the guy to become a massive snowball at the end, that then he's trapped inside of.
Especially like you have a lot like directions and or like if we say it was like Said, like text that goes into it. Oh, I'm talking about text now. Oh my God.
Oh God.
And
then now you're going to start talking about spaces and bodies now. Descriptions that are like then reproduced. And I'm using this a lot, but that what? No, come on.
No,
I wasn't stopping you from speaking.
What did I want to say? What you said with the snowball, of course, like it's not like it's something that only happens accidentally. You have a lot of influence by like people that are influential, that are writing the discourse, or that are like, oh fuck, I sound like I've read too much postmodernist.
But that is something
text, but that
they
is
are
where
actually
they have
right
a
about that.
Point.
Not
exactly.
right entirely, but they
because this is always the thing that I always like somewhat lean postmodernist, but then like disagree with some like hardcore Marxists. I'm sorry, but like the whole like politics downstream from culture and the reverse type of thing, which like postmodernist think culture like influences people, and then the opposite is true for basically Marxists. But like I feel like it's like culture can, or media and stuff can influence people, but to an extent. Like, I don't think there's going to be like a piece of media that will get everyone into, like, there's not going to be a film that's going to be like, okay, and now socialism, we all did it.
Well,
but like
fascism tried that, remember? Like, I mean, like Triumph of the Will is exactly that. You know, it's this thing of them like, here's our project, and to a lesser degree, the early Soviet film, like.
The great, like Oktябrь and Potemkin.
I mean, it is, but I mean, like the you have to then look at it in the sense of like, what is the function of film then in like,
it's beautiful and it celebrates the revolution.
I mean, but I think that then like, but that's why I say to like a lesser extent is that then
so like agitprop.
It's cool. But the like Triumph of the Will is like literally then the sense of like, this is what the Nazi project is going to look like, and this is then our end goal, and this movie is supposed to be the thing that then inspires you to then get behind, and like it. I mean, obviously, it wasn't just the movie that then was successful in doing that, but it'd be very like. It'd be very hard to look
Hitler
at the
guy.
It's just a Hitler guy fucking going around,
politics or something. I don't know.
It'd be very hard to look at the Nazi regime without then looking at obviously the very strong propaganda image of them like being being this like product of like racial history or whatever the fuck that they pretended themselves being, and how that was an implemental part in that.
And there we can also again see that culture is nothing that only like that comes naturally or something. If you have an agenda, you can like
it's entirely manufactured. Like anyone who thinks that otherwise is probably a Nazi.
This is just
this is who I am.
It's naturally occurring. It fell off a tree. It's fine.
A beautiful white Aryan tree.
This tree is very sick. It shouldn't be this color.
Actually,
would that be like an oak tree?
It's an Aryan tree.
I don't know. All I know is that this tree is just a symbol. This tree is actually just a symbol of peace in Hindi. So
swastika-shaped tree.
Oh my god.
And DJ Happy Vibes sees it and falls to his knees in my next album.
Which thanks to fucking PC culture he can't do.
No, it's only released in Austria.
The special Austrian cover.
My Austrian label released it. So I guess that brings us to our next topic. Not really related at all. Well, we touched on fascism.
Fascism is bad. Hey.
Yeah. So now we're going to talk about something completely different from fascism, but anti-fascism, which is different somehow. I guess we're talking about a wonderful organization in Germany that has recently had its NGO status removed for, I guess, just being too powerful. They
this is a thing, like there's multiple levels of this that are ridiculous. One, that then this is an NGO for Julia can explain first.
Well, so the German name of this organization is super long, but it would be like
that's the culture.
Vereinigung der Verfolgten des Naziregimes, Bund der Antifaschistinnen und Antifaschisten. And it was founded in 1947.
Which means?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Like for a lot of people, it's probably what's happening to me when I first moved to Moabit, where it's like, Nazi is in the title of this. I can't tell if this is pro or against Nazi.
Yeah. Verfolgt is like, Verfolgte is
persecuted.
Persecuted. Yeah. So it's the association of persecuted people, like being persecuted by the Nazi regime. Bund. How would you explain that?
Group.
Well, Bund is a special term, but group of anti-fascists. Like both female and
association
male.
Of anti-fascists.
I can't say association twice. So like Vereinigung and Bund is.
No, it's because English lacks different words.
Yeah, because we have like somehow we have so many. Oh, come on.
Okay, it is. Where's the name?
In the beginning.
Holy shit! Wow.
Yeah, I said. Come on.
No, Nick is not ready for this.
So the Vereinigung is literal unification, but it would be like the.
Association.
Unified Association for the Persecuted of the Nazi Regime, and the Association of Anti-Fascists. Men and women.
Yeah,
And
men and women, and everyone.
Everyone is an anti-fascist. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was founded in 1947. So as one as the so fucking early, like
Hot on the heels.
yeah, like one of the first.
Guys, I've taken 2 years to think about it. All that shit before was bad.
And it was founded by survivors of like concentration camps and people that were persecuted. So, and it's a very like, well, it says like Vereinigung. So it's a very like, it's a unification like of everyone that was actually, you know,
a unified front would be the
nice
boy that
I like that sound.
We all everyone on the left likes a good front.
Put a red in front of it. And so somehow in Germany, and we had this already with attack happening. So you know what attack is, yeah.
Please explain for our listeners.
Shit. Well, attack.
That's without the K, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it is actually
it?
it's like they're critical of like globalization and wait, I could be wrong, right?
The Association for the Taxation of the Transactions, Finances and Actions of Citizens, an activist organization originally created to promote the establishment of tax on foreign exchange transactions.
Yeah. So they're like globalisierungskritisch and like. Stuff like that. So they were also they had this status. So in Germany, you can have that status of like being an association,
non-profit,
but also a non-profit. But like you have to have this. You have to be of benefit to the society, and somehow the German finance ministry is allowed to take that status away from you if they decide that you are not beneficial to the society anymore. And during these times, I mean, who would think that a anti-fascist group of like Holocaust survivors would like be of any benefit to the society?
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Stop fascism?
Yeah, like seriously.
Yeah, and the thing that I thought about it that was just the funniest is that it's actually not funny at all.
Yeah,
is that they gave their reasoning for it is that like they're just too close to political parties. Like they said they were too close to the left, and that they were potentially too close to the to the DKP, who is a microscopic party.
Yeah.
And
so it's
Democratic Communist Party, is that?
No, the German Communist Party.
Yeah.
They can't be called the KPD because of their band.
Yeah.
Right.
One of the two banned parties in Germany.
Yeah.
Other ones are the Nazis.
Yes.
And I find it, first of all, I find it kind of interesting that this is a decision made by the Ministry of Finance in Germany.
The great Leninist Olaf Scholz.
Exactly. He was a great mayor for Hamburg. He's a great Minister of Finance.
Yeah,
we know what happened to Hamburg.
Yeah.
He really loves anti-fascists, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and one of the like honorary Vorsitzende. Oh, my English is gone today. Vorsitzende.
Just heads.
Heads.
Yeah.
That sounds so
Chairman.
corporate. Yeah, chairman. Yeah, let's say that. One of the honorary
chairpersons. Let's
chairperson. Yeah. Is Esther Bejarano. And she is also like a survivor, like of
Auschwitz, right?
Auschwitz. Yeah, exactly. And she wrote this letter to Olaf Scholz.
Oh,
and
good.
yeah, an open letter, and it makes a lot of good points because he says like, okay, so like as a survivor of Auschwitz, I am kind of like this painful reminder to Germany, you know, that the Holocaust happened and that the Nazis happened. So people like to give me medals and stuff like that. So like Bundesverdienstkreuz and shit. So this is like a you have that in America
like the Presidential
as well.
Medal of Freedom.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
Yeah, that shit.
Which is what that
every
dog
country has
recently got. I
Yeah.
think.
It's like I can't remember what the neutral term, but it's just like country honor or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
National honor. I think.
National honor.
Yeah, and she got like she got the like there's different grades of it, I think. And yeah.
Every country, I think everyone but the U.S. has that.
Yeah.
The U.S. just has one stupid medal.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And she says, she is like thankful for like receiving them, because for her it's like a sign that like her the work that she and other anti-fascists put in it is actually like honored. But then she says, like, at the same time, this is fucking biased. She doesn't say fucking biased, but that's what I say. It is fucking biased. That, yeah, as a like Aushängeschild, as like poster child, you know, you receive these medals. But when you actually do your anti-fascist work, suddenly you get your like tax exemptions, or what is it called? Like taken away from you, because now you've suddenly too left wing in a time where we really, really need anti-fascist work and actions.
Well, I think this really boils down to the sense of what we've discussed multiple times on the show, is that to anyone then who is going to be surprised when the CDU starts working with the AFD, like, is an idiot. Yeah. Because they've been, I mean, even like Ciarán and I joked last week when you weren't here about which was last night. They never posted the location for it. But the Junge Union or whatever, the Schlager gegen Links, like there's and if you looked at them, the things of like what they were doing online, it was all like these like different things of this against, Antifa, this against. The one that got me the best was it was like something against Bolshevismus, which is an old Nazi thing of like the threat of Judeo-Bolshevism.
Oh my god!
And whenever
we all know that Junge was it? Wait, who was it?
It was Junge Union.
Yeah, of course, Junge Union are the fucking like
they're the far right youth of their party. They're fucking idiots.
Have you ever seen their posters? Like it's sexist, it's racist. It's
fun.
But and I just think it's really weird, like that it's that gets kind of unchecked, of that, like everyone laughed at it because it was ridiculous and stupid, obviously, and they should, like, I really hope that
there's a boring party.
Yeah, I really hope that party never actually happened, because they didn't post anywhere online where it was. We actually had people ask us like on where Twitter, it was on Twitter, and we had to write them, be like, yeah, they didn't post. They didn't post a new location. We were looking.
Shit, we should like put an informant into the Junge Union.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be sick.
Ooh, any Trotskyists listening think they're above this? Take a crack at it. It's fine. We'll sponsor you. The €1 for every hour you last without becoming a fascist.
Yes. But no, I mean, like this kind of goes within the argument that I think a lot of people who are just, from a lot of communists who are extremely critical of anti-communism, of that this is like these talking points that are integral to like the right and to conservatives and stuff like that. Eventually will end up on a fascist endpoint, because they internalize it, so like the anti-Bolshevismus thing. Yeah, like the only threat, like it goes into the sense of too, like, which Rob is going to do a whole episode with probably Julia about, is the historical debate in Germany around then like the 90s, was it, or something like that?
Oh yeah, historical debate.
Exactly.
That thing.
There was, just like as a brief overview, there's a really disturbing view of history by some German historians.
It says Stalin is Hitler and Hitler is Stalin.
It's not even just that. It's not like, Hitler was only doing this because he was afraid of the Bolsheviks.
It is saying like the Holocaust was a reaction to Bolshevism, especially like Jewish Bolshevism and the theory that it all
doesn't exist. Yeah, there's no such thing as Judeo-Bolshevism.
I know.
But then you like Germans, and this is the thing too, is that like I do, this kind of goes back in also to with like the Corbyn debate currently right now with like the anti-Semitism and racism around that thing, which we're not going to touch with the 1,000-meter pole, but it kind of, at least viewing in the sense of Germany, is that like if you poke a German hard enough with any of these issues, anti-Semitism just randomly comes out, just for no fucking reason.
And exactly, and that is actually what the point that I wanted to make. It's so. I was about to say fascinating, but it's also very like disgusting. That when it comes to German guilt, when it comes to having a Jewish person that survived Auschwitz, talking about like, oh, look at us, like look at Germany, it changed. We are giving medals to Jewish people now. It's like then that's fine. As a Jew, they want to see Esther as a Jewish person and as a Jewish poster child. But when it comes to anti-fascist work, that she does, like that, the thing that actually is effective against fascism, because it's called anti-fascism. Ta-da!
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, you can't be political. You're supposed to be the poster child for this. You're supposed to be, you're supposed to show that Germany changed, that Germany now is giving medals to Jewish people. But if you're politically active, that's wrong. You can't do this. You can't actually fight.
How can you be anti-fascist while being in politics when it was politicians who killed all the Jews? Got you there, libs.
It's kind of like, it's okay when you're seeing you as a victim or something, but not seeing you as someone who actually is politically active, who actually fights the reasons for why so many people were killed during the Nazi regime. Which is fascism.
And I think that this also kind of goes. I think this also goes into the sense too that then a lot of mainstream German thought kind of goes in the sense that I think that there is a truth to admit that then something like the Holocaust, at least to Jews, probably isn't going to happen. The sense of then anti-Semitism to that extremity of complete extermination with concentration camps and whatnot to this specific group. Europe has enough of a memory to remember that okay, not them, but when we see then kind of this archipelago of with the refugee crisis in Europe and whatnot, and how then there isn't, and I'm not saying that you can compare this exactly with the Holocaust, but at least in the sense of the rhetoric and the ideas and the dehumanization of people, and how there have been for example, this group doesn't only do stuff. Most anti-fascist groups don't only do stuff, especially Jewish anti-fascist groups don't only do stuff to raise awareness for the Jewish community, but for all communities that then who are being oppressed. And then when like you're saying, when you when you take the role of them being anti-fascist and then point out then what is Frontex doing, what is then these concentration camps that have appeared all throughout Europe then that have just are holding people indefinitely. Given, you're right, they're not extermination camps. They're not and it is extreme to then say that then a Holocaust is happening in that sense. But these are bad situations regardless. And raising your mouth, raising your voice as an anti-fascist in these senses, being then a part of that often then obviously gets ignored.
Yeah, exactly. And
we'll talk about detention centers in a bit.
And I think exactly, that's why I wanted to bring that up.
That's a great point. And just to mention one more time. This is an association that is not only for Jewish people that were persecuted by the Nazi regime. It's for everyone, and it's an anti-fascist group, and it is very inclusive in that, and because it is a union of everyone who was persecuted.
It also needs to be, because as we were talking about off mic, the Roma and Sinti by the German state were largely forgotten about as victims of the Holocaust. The memorial in Berlin to the Roma and Sinti who died in the Holocaust was made by the Jewish Holocaust Survivors Association. They did it out of their own pocket, basically.
Exactly.
And perfect example right there is that look at then the instances of, Hungary has racial laws against the Roma and Sinti still today. There have been instances of them, of Roma and Sinti children being taken away from their families in Greece, for example, because they didn't look like the parents.
Because they were blonde or something.
Genes.
There's and in the current family or labor laws and policies, everything that Hungary or Orban does is kind of targeting this group.
A lot of European countries also have your voting rights tied to an address.
Exactly. And
But so this is just I don't know, it's just a gross example of, I think, Germany being Germany. Of that, then this idea that there's an apolitical nature of looking at the Holocaust.
Exactly.
And you're two left wings, so you can't then be a non-profit organization who raises awareness for the victims of the Holocaust is just
this doesn't benefit society.
Fuck off. And then I want to see the list of just disgusting organizations that have non-profit status in this country.
It is a fucking example for the crackdown on leftist associations or spaces or something. There I'm going with spaces again, but you
mean physical actual places?
I mean like places, like, you know,
Yeah.
repression against like leftist places and spaces and associations. What we are not only seeing in Germany, we're seeing it going like on in the whole of Europe. You see it in Greece happening with Exarch here, and you see it. I mean, we have that thing, of course, with like in Germany for a long time with like squatted houses and stuff like that. But now that associations, like big associations like this one or Attack, are like under fire by the German government and someone like Olaf Scholz, like the Ministry of Finance.
The Minister of Finance, who I make the joke all the time that about him being a Leninist. There is an interview with him when he was in the Jusos. He was, I think, was the head of the Jusos, and he said he was a proud Leninist. Well, look at where you are now, you piece of shit. Not all Leninists.
That happens a lot too. When they are Jusos, they are like Gerhard Schröder. Yeah, what did he say? Like, I'm a communist, or I'm a Marxist, or then
the SPD just beats the shit out of you, like just mentally until you fall. But I mean, like it's the same thing too with again, like the Junge Union. Like they're far more right wing and racist than the actual like policy that when you're young you got to pick. Are you a Marxist or you're just a fucking racist psychopath?
Well, it's the collective like existential crisis that like every Green Party in Europe is facing, of just like, why is everyone in the youth wing of the Green Party like a socialist? What's happening, guys?
You guys just, they have to come to their senses and realize that these incredibly complex, tax breaks that only go to wealthy people so that they can buy their new Tesla truck. Yeah. That's the path towards, the green capitalism.
Oh, wait, the one you can camp in?
Oh, I can't, was it one of you guys who sent me the picture of the Trabant with the...
No, that was, what's his name? The head of Jacobin here.
Oh, Lauren.
No, not Lauren.
Oh.
Is it David?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah. Hey. But yeah, the Trabant with the like tent that was fixed to the top.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so much better.
Still a better car than the Tesla.
Everyone loves a good Trabant.
Yep.
Oh, God. Speaking of the 90s, here's my transition. Actually, how are we doing on time?
Yeah.
We're at 53 minutes.
Okay.
We can go for another 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's see how quickly I can get through this. If not, we can maybe split it and turn it into a second episode.
That's fine. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to walk these guys through something that basically no one in Europe knows about.
It's the 90s. My jeans are really wide. Yeah. I have my flannel on. Wait, what kind of... No, wait, I'm a 90s new metal kid. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so this is 1999.
1999. Okay, I'm blasting Korn's first album.
Nice.
Ooh, yes. Feeling this.
Yeah. I have my very wide jeans. I'm kick flipping over everything.
I had a crush on, what's his name? Anthony... Korn singer.
Oh, Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis, not Anthony Davis. I always mix it up.
Anthony Davis is a basketball
I know. Oh, fuck, that's why.
The raw musical talents of Jonathan Davis on the body of Anthony Davis.
Oh my God.
He looks just exactly just like a large version of Jonathan Davis with the just dreads and everything, but just has Anthony Davis as like a unibrow.
Yes, a unibrow. Actually, Anthony Davis is a very good player.
Yes, I know that. Okay. We're not talking basketball with Rob and Yulia. That's whenever you guys want to do that on your own time.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the like right wing infiltration of like the academic history in Germany during the 90s, and every second reference is a basketball metaphor.
That's gonna be fun.
So a good episode. All right, so we're gonna be talking about one of Ireland's like contemporary sins that I feel like a lot of people on the left in the wider world know about. Which is a lovely little system called direct provision, which hooray for this. So this is very in line with what we're talking about, like with Frontex and the kind of migrant crisis stuff. But in October 17th, 1999, about 20 years ago now, Ireland implemented a very temporary measure to handle with the large influx of asylum seekers. For context, this is when Ireland was like making that moolah This was the height of the Celtic Tiger, when we had like a shit ton of money in a system that would last forever and it will never fall apart. This temporary measure was an emergency measure because there were so many asylum seekers coming in and we basically didn't have enough social housing to provide for them. And instead of like doing something stupid like building a bunch of social housing, like fools, like idiots, we come up with a system called direct provision that lasts for 6 months. What this system is we created a bunch of detention centres in the remote parts of Ireland, very, very far from the capital, basically, and placed all the asylum seekers there. Most of these places were made from like compromised and disused hostels, nursing homes, guest houses. Yeah. One was an abandoned holiday park.
Wait, what?
They
put people on like roller coaster.
Yeah, it's like that kind of like shitty internal, like, oh, we can't really afford to go overseas this Christmas, guys. We're going to the weird German pony park where like you get to live in a tent for a couple of days and there's a pony you can pet. That kind of like holiday park that like failed.
You mean like your title photo on Twitter? That's that fun land that's just lit on fire.
Yeah. I changed it to that message I got from my friend who told me I've been referred to by some of his friends as the hot communist guy. So
la la.
I like that. I like that
it's
message
a fact.
very much. It's such a good comment. I'm gonna screen cap that forever. But so yeah, they're placed in these like really piss poor conditions. I want to actually show you guys a photo of one of the direct provision centres in Achill Island, which is an island off the west coast of Ireland that like there's like one ferry to get there a day kind of thing.
Is the whole island flooded?
Wait.
Like,
no, that's just what it looks like when it rains in Ireland.
Okay.
So it's an island.
Very, very remote island. Like everyone...
In front of Ireland.
Off the coast of Ireland.
Okay.
Everyone else there...
so is that where the Australians got their idea from?
Maybe.
They were like, okay, how can we do this?
Oh no, the Achill Island Centre is new. But like everyone else there, to like tell you how fucked the economy in Achill Island is, everyone else there is like a subsistence sheep farmer, and they still speak Irish there.
Oh.
So they make most of their money by being tour guides for people who want to see the parts of Ireland that still speak Irish.
Oh, okay.
That's basically it. That's the entire economy.
It's always good when your entire economy is kind of based on tourism or something.
Sheep and tourism. It's like Greece, but in Europe.
Both economies are great.
Imagine rural Greece, but the weather's shit.
Fuck.
Oh no.
The other things that are provided for them is like 3 meals a day. It's pretty good, but €19.10 per week per adult. Keep in mind the cost of living in Ireland is probably like 2 to 3 times what it is in Germany, like in Berlin.
Why is that such a specific like number?
I
like
have no idea actually.
Like, okay, that's what we have left over.
It's like one of those numbers that is like weirdly specific that it makes you incorrectly think there was a lot of like good rationale behind the number.
Yeah.
It's just like, but yeah, and it probably is just like one of those like extreme, just like bird brain neoliberal, just like crunching the numbers until you get the perfect thing. It's like, all right, yep, the average human on Earth needs 19 euros and 10 cents to live throughout the week.
It probably adds up to like a round number when you do it like over a year or something. I don't know. But
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, if it's what 1910 multiplied by what 52? No, yeah, probably
something like that. And also, but you also math.
I know how many weeks there are in a year. Take that.
Ooh.
Take that, libs. 15.
Yeah, I am Nate Silver.
€15.60 per week per child. Keep in mind, like to give the context, that is how much you would spend to get like food for the evening in Ireland.
Oh wow!
Like cost of living in Ireland is a lot higher. We have the second highest minimum wage in the Eurozone. It's like Luxembourg and then us. And what a great list of horrid tax havens. But before the system in 1999 was implemented, asylum seekers in Ireland had basically the exact same rights as the native Irish. Same access to like social welfare state, education, applied to
good.
jobs. All that's gone now. It has been gone for the last 20 years. Other fun fact is that all these detention centers are run for profit.
Yay!
Yay!
Woo, woo. Is it privatized or what is it?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's a lovely...
It's socialism with Chinese characteristics.
This is a private-public partnership.
It is!
Yeah!
I cannot stress enough, even though Volt Ireland is terribly unpopular,
They are
public-private
getting shit done.
public-private partnerships are like Ireland, the Irish government ever since the 80s has been like super horny for those. Like everything in Ireland is like a public-private partnership. So what that means is...
It probably has no relation to just how the economy just completely collapsed.
actually, no. It was just an excuse to do more of it.
Cool.
Yeah. But these centers are kind of like funded with taxpayer money, but then like everything that money is spent on is private. So like it is privately run. The like catering and cleaning companies that are used for these detention centers are like private companies.
Yeah, they're contracted in.
Exactly. So that's always just like an absolute great thing. What else do we have? What other fun facts do we have about these facilities? It caters for currently about 6,000 people in across the 38 facilities in Ireland. But another 1,389 have been put into emergency housing. So now even this system is falling apart, and they're just being given social houses because the system just doesn't fucking work. And to give context for like how long these people are in limbo, because their asylum applications are being processed. They haven't been granted it yet. So that's 2 to 4 years on average. But some cases, more than 10 cases have lasted over 10 years.
Oh my God.
Some of these children are being born into this legal limbo.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stated justification is to prevent homelessness. Because again, we didn't have enough social housing for them, so we put them in these fucking abandoned holiday inns. And that hopefully takes care of them. But it's worth pointing out that Ireland's economy is not where it was in 1999, and because of that, our asylum applications have dropped drastically. We're spending about like 120 million euro a year on this system, and the asylum population is also considerably smaller, like I think by a factor of 90% compared to other EU countries of a similar size. Like Denmark is roughly the same population as Ireland and has like 10 times the asylum applicants. So but the like very obvious thing is exists as like a deterrence for more people to come. That's why the system is being maintained. It's ideological imperative to have private contractors be enriched at the expense of migrants who are marginalized and immiserated to the point of deterring and displacing other people trying to come into Ireland, which is still relatively popular, like on paper as an asylum destination because, you know, relatively wealthy, speaks English, incredibly safe in terms of like, I really don't see like a war situation breaking out anytime soon in Ireland. Like, what's Iceland going to invade? I don't know.
Yes.
Not again.
It would be one of those weird wars that was like where Iceland and the UK went to war for like 3 days.
Oh, the Cod Wars.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because like what the UK accidentally sunk like a fishing boat or something like that.
No, it was even dumber. They accidentally fished in what turned out to be Icelandic waters.
Oh, okay.
And Iceland is like, nope, we're not gonna, nope, not
That's
our
like-
fish.
That would have been a good reason.
Yeah.
That's like one of those things too. Like there was the emu war in Australia.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just like when you look at the breakdown on Wikipedia, it's like belligerents, like 7,000 emus, and then like
Defenders. Like,
yeah, and then like the Australian army was just like it was like 30 people just armed with Lewis guns, and the emus still won.
Yeah, because like
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I know, right? That's anti-imperialism right there.
but like imagine if
The Maoist emus.
like can you imagine if like the UK did sink an Icelandic fishing boat? That's like 4 people dead. That's like 20% of the Icelandic population.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Oh, that's Iceland's Hiroshima.
But here's the other side of direct provision stuff, which I keep abbreviating in my notes as DP, but then every time I see it, I think double penetration. But it's the double penetration of ridiculous legal limbo and, but drum roll, that's going to sound terrible on the mic.
Come on.
Of horrifying abuse by the staff who run the places.
Would you know that the both of those are my fetish?
Yeah, so about 90% of people who end up in direct provision within their first 6 months develop clinical depression.
Yep, makes sense.
That makes sense.
It's also Ireland.
yeah, which we've all seen the rap videos.
Yep.
No, we haven't. You've shown us.
I showed you the rap videos. Yeah. What other great things are there? There's an 8:30 p.m. curfew in people in detention centers. Yeah, in the centers.
They have a curfew.
They have a curfew of 8:30.
Where are they gonna-
8:30.
Where are you going to go on an island?
So after cartoons or
The
what?
pub.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, good. So you can't even make friends. Like
Oh
at the
no,
pub.
there's several different ways to stop you from making friends.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry about that. We'll get to
So
that.
you want to be they want them to be isolated and
very isolated.
Yeah.
We also get back into Ireland's like incredibly poor public transport system, which only really exists in Dublin. And in Dublin it's kind of fine, but like everywhere else, namely where these centres are, does not have public transport at all.
Yeah.
It's very like rural America. You have to know how to drive, which funnily applying for a driver's license in these centers is illegal.
course.
So they have no way of getting to like any potential job they could get. But don't worry, you can't have a bank account either. That's also illegal. And you can't apply for a job. That's also illegal.
Oh my god.
A lot of these things have been made illegal. What else? Children have had a high risk of being bullied or sexually assaulted in these facilities. Napulas and formula milk are often denied to newborn babies.
Wait. And then?
What?
And then?
And then, yeah,
What?
what happens? I don't know. The complaint procedure in these facilities is not independent and not confidential. Been various cases of the DP staff, the double penetration staff, like bullying them out of like making these complaints. A good example was last April, the state tried to force a woman living in a centre in Meath to relocate to the west of the country to another facility just after her son was born and also seriously ill. This resulted in a protest of like everyone else in the direct provision centre, but they were all effectively silenced by the millionaire who owned the direct provision centre, claiming that the protest would reflect poorly on their asylum application process, which is not handled. Which, first of all, is completely untrue. The direct provision has no effect over your application process.
Yeah, it shouldn't.
Yeah,
if
'cause
it's
it-
private, like
yeah,
if
but
a millionaire.
Yeah, it's completely separate process. It's done by
Yeah.
like the Court of Justice in
Yeah,
Ireland,
yeah,
but like you wouldn't know that. Like in these centres,
Yeah,
you'd be
of course.
fucking terrified.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely horrifying stuff. Between the years of 2007 and 2017, 44 people have died within this system. Notably, as such, 15, their cause of death was written as unknown or died.
Died.
It's very Irish.
Well,
They put down a cause of death died. But like
Death by death.
death by death. There was no further inquiries into any of those cases about how they died.
Of course.
No.
Yeah.
I have a lovely quote here from one of the people in these centres.
Yeah.
You feel watched the whole time. There is no real privacy. Everyone watches you come and go. You feel controlled. It's an institution we live in. It's not a home.
Well, that's a good quote.
That is a good quote.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. It's worth pointing out that like all the living quarters are stocked with like old, worn and unclean furniture, a lot of like cases of bed bugs. There are no privacy rights. Staff can enter any of the like private rooms without warning. Asylum seekers must adhere to an array of restrictions. You can't decorate your room. You can't drink alcohol. You're not allowed to bring food into your room. You have to use the food in the communal centers. There's no kettles allowed. No electronics. Can only be used in communal. Electronics and kettles have to be used in the communal spaces. Can't leave overnight without formal permission because there's the curfew. There was a mandatory registration system for everyone who came to visit. They had to sign in.
So did someone literally just went, some Irish guy ended up in the U.S. military, ended up in boot camp, and was like, this is how society should run.
Yeah. Or a student home in Eastern Europe.
Or that. They went to just an absolutely atrocious place that everyone wants to immediately get out of, and this is how you run a society.
Yeah.
The courts ruled the required sign in for residents. So this was a sign in for residents. Basically, every morning when they got up, they had to sign in and sign out when they went to bed. That was ruled unconstitutional in 2014. And there was, for many years until the courts banned this again, there was just a complete ban on private visitors coming into the centers. So whether that was if you had a contact already living in the country, or even fucking journalists getting in to see or talk to especially
journalists.
Yeah. But
this is just a perfect example of them, because I know that then a lot of people look at them. What would if we had then a scenario where the mega wealthy then are kind of dictating who can participate and who can't.
Yeah.
This is what that world would look like for then the people who then more or less you can't get rid of, but you just also don't want them to participate.
Yeah.
And I know that
so
this is
isolating.
Yeah. It's always a point that in science fiction and stuff like that.
I was about to say, what is that movie called again?
Which movie?
Which one? You mean Children of Men?
Yeah.
Where it literally is off the coast of England. Where these
Exactly. Yeah.
The Isle of Wight just turned into a giant concentration
camp.
camp.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it really is I know that then this is always a thing that then's entertained of what if, but we kind of there are pockets of what this world would look like that are currently happening of these people are probably from a place that then is not white, that then are probably seen as undesirables then within the European Union.
From the statistics I read, most of these people are coming from sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
Usually former British colonies, so they have a bit of English.
Yeah. And even in that sense, even if then you have this skills of integration or whatever it is, there's still then this mechanism that then will be put into place that then that you can't participate. And obviously it is 99% of the time done on just a made up racial line or whatever it is, and which has colonialism.
It's so easy to do that when you have if you have private owners kind of or private, if you have anything that is privatized in this whole institution, in this whole system, is that you can implement your own rules, because you don't have to go by actual legal framework, or
you just make your own legal framework and get it and lobby for it to get passed,
because it's a company and I run it like a company.
Another example of this would also then be in the US with the indigenous communities in the United States, about how there's just a complete disregard for any potential rights that they have, because corporations just lobby to get their rights written off, stuff with access to water and stuff like that do not matter for when the Dakota Access Pipeline was getting put down and whatnot. That was entirely done through private companies, laid out through a program that the U.S. was doing. Even then, to the point of then policing was done by private military forces that then was just Blackwater named something different.
And then,
Water Black. Totally different.
It was their, it's really interesting too, because they made a company that then worked in the United States to then only handle stuff like this. I forget their name though.
But I just imagine them crossing out the name on their jackets or something where it says Blackwater and just write Water Black. It's
the first title is done really professionally, sewn in, and then it's just crossed out, written in Sharpie.
Exactly. I don't know what you're talking about. We're not the same.
But the let's see. Just what other tidbits? It's interesting you mentioned American companies though, because a lot of this is
funded by the United States. Or
Yeah.
not the U.S. government, but U.S.
Private
capital.
company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is coming from our current Taoiseach Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, who was who had like a slight moment of being like the kind of Justin Trudeau Macron woke bay wave.
Which he's also then, doing the same shit when it comes to interning people.
Yeah, absolutely. It was mainly because it was young, and there was a big thing about his socks. He would wear like kind of like kooky patterned socks, and everyone was like, "Oh, look at!" And it didn't work. It actually didn't work in the Irish people because he was kind of known within Ireland of like he was like
A country where everyone knows each other.
basically, but he was like known within Ireland. His big political moment was he came out in favor of the same-sex marriage referendum because he, for most of his political career, was closeted. He is a gay man, and this is why the kind of like lib identity politics kind of latched onto him. But he's also a big fan of his big
Genocide.
well, no, his big thing when he became prime minister, first of all, was we need to sort out all the welfare cheats in Ireland. His slogan was "Welfare cheats cheat us all."
That's a real fucking like Lib Dem energy of just
Yeah,
bad.
but it is very like the precursor.
Does he also have a skills wallet?
No, but it's very like welfare queen almost,
Yeah.
like Reagan era shit.
Yes, welfare queen.
Yeah, that's welfare queen. And like welfare cheating is like just not a thing in any welfare system.
No,
It's
of course not.
negligible.
It is always done to then pass like racialized barriers of entry.
But like his big thing is also just like selling the company for parts, or selling the country for parts, basically. Classic neoliberalism. These detention centers are like given huge amounts of money to run, but they're all run by private companies. One of them is a famous US-based multinational Aramark.
The largest private prison company in the United States.
Yes. They're known for like feeding American prisoners a combination of dog food, worms, scraps of old food for meals.
Yeah, they also run a lot of ICE facilities, if I'm not
sure
mistaken.
they do.
Yeah.
It's all like, and basically to run their facilities, they were given like 82.5 million by the Irish government to like run this shit. Yeah.
And I bet that they used all that money very responsibly and didn't just try to, cut costs in every single corner like that company's notorious for.
Yeah. They to give people a little bit of like glimmer of hope is the reason this has been going on for so long in Ireland is, I would just say, outright ignorance. The majority of the population of Ireland does not fucking know this exists.
I mean, yeah, if you put it like in a very isolated rural area, nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, which is like they put it out all in a county in the northwest of Ireland called Mayo, and basically every like football team, hurling team, Gaelic football team that comes from there are all like big anti-racist like activists and stuff because they're surrounded by these detention centers.
Yeah.
So they're just like, yo, this shit's fucked. I wish I could do a Mayo accent because it's hilarious. But like,
what does mayonnaise sound like?
But Tish. I did have an Irish teacher who told me that's where it was named for, but no, it's some French bullshit. But
no. That's some Irish hotep shit.
Oh, it's Irish.
The Irish invented.
Good, I like that.
The Irish invented mayonnaise, and they smeared them all over the pyramids.
We rub it on our hands to get better traction when it's climbing up the side. Sure, don't you know that's how we did it? Like, but like other things is like the UN and the European Union Commission have started to notice this is like a thing, and they're like ineffectually, but still like paying lip service to like, Ireland, please stop. Various NGOs, and like now we're gotten to the point where there are people coming out of the system who are now like Irish citizens and now feel a bit more confident to like protest. So because this has been around for 20 years.
It's about time.
Yeah, and some Irish court rulings have been like going in favor. So for example, like I said, like most welfare is cut off, but now they have gained access to child benefits, which is good. They now have easier access to a third level education, which wasn't there before, because that's usually the first thing most people think of, like, okay, I'm going to be here for an average of 4 years. I'm going to get a degree while I'm stuck here.
Yeah.
Because Irish education, third level education, is kind of free. The fees exist, but they're going up. But they used to get charged non-native fees. which is if you as an American citizen went to Ireland to study, you'd be charged minimum like 20 grand.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it was like €400 per year. Okay.
Sorry.
Ciarán's dog just dropped a toy at Yulia's feet.
Yeah.
But and also the weekly allowance has been like tripled since then. It's now like €38.80 per week, which is still not great, but better than what it was before. Last thing I want to say though is that there's still just like a bunch of barriers to working because they also recently ruled that the work permit idea is now illegal. It used to be like a work permit you had to apply for, and to apply it cost €1,000.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, they're gonna fucking do that.
Well, do that for my €19.10
a fucking week. Yeah, I'll just save some aside for this.
Yep.
But the thing that they are like, there's still like the material problems of like you're in rural Ireland, you can't get a driver's license, so there's like basically no jobs for you to apply to that you could reasonably go to. And again, the news for a lot of this that I had to read to figure out about it was in the Irish language. Irish language reporting had been much better on this because, like I said, Achill Island and like the remote parts of Ireland are the Irish-speaking parts.
Yeah.
But that does provide like a barrier of entry for the wider world and even a lot of Ireland to understand what's happening. But yeah, a lot of really great anti-fascist and anti-racist stuff coming out of Irish publications, like Irish language publications at the moment. Which one particularly funny thing is there's now a nationalist party in Ireland, and the Irish for that is Party Nasciúnta. But like, is really funny because there was this whole thing where they got really up in a tizzy because when you put Party Nasciúnta into Google Translate from like Irish to English, the English comes out as Nazi Party. And then this Irish language publication was like, yeah, it's not technically correct, but it is hilarious.
Well.
So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys and our listeners about this fucking terrible system that exists. So hooray.
Yeah. This episode, we're sorry that it was just kind of a downer, but you know, that's Europe, baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Europe is, I mean, and to be fair, maybe like the weather is just like influencing our outlook on the world. I have not seen this. I saw the sun for the first time in like 3 weeks today, and it's already disappearing.
Yep.
So
Well, it's going down.
It's going down, yeah. The one day of sunlight in the past 3 weeks.
I read the weather report on the U-Bahn, so like on the subway, and it said tomorrow there won't be any sun.
Yay!
No sun at all.
Yes.
It's like currently 3:30, so naturally the sun is setting.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway, we will.
So I guess like Ireland was a good topic then.
Yeah, exactly. There is no sun, but yeah, we will catch you guys next week then.
Yep.
Take care. Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.